or welcome back. My name is Shawnee, and this is Conspiracy and Chill. Today I'm going to be talking about episode 8 of American Horror Story's double feature, Death Valley. So to start off, this episode begins with President Eisenhower on the green playing golf in 1963 when Richard Nixon comes up and he starts talking to him about the Kennedy situation because John F. Kennedy is the current president in this time. And Nixon is really worried about how Kennedy is going to handle the alien treaty. Whereas Eisenhower is just like, I'm just ready to be done with this. He's obviously out of office and he's just enjoying his life. And then Nixon's like, no, we have to do blah, 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 whatever. And we eventually flash back to the past when Kennedy first came into office. And they are telling him, basically they bring the black box and they have all the evidence of the aliens, the photos, everything that happened previously with Eisenhower back in the 50s. And Kennedy is just like, what the hell? Like, this is not okay. Like, why would you agree to sacrifice, our American citizens? Because the treaty that Eisenhower came up with the aliens is to essentially send up 5,000 Americans every year for testing. And Kennedy is just like, how dare you? Like, why would you do that? Like, and Nixon is just like, how dare you upstage the president? Not president, he is the president at the time. But, Nixon is really gung-ho about it. He's like, we have to do this. I'm on the side of the aliens. And Kennedy's just like, I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel. It's my job to protect the American people. I don't know how I feel about this, which is understandable. Another thing that they put into that episode that I thought was interesting, while Eisenhower and Nixon were on the green, he makes a comment about Nixon's like sweating, and he's like, oh, you just hate Kennedy because you lost him, because the very first televised presidential debate was against Kennedy and Nixon. And a lot of people think that Nixon lost because I think he had just gotten out of the hospital like right before it, and it was the first televised event, so he had on bad makeup, like it wasn't suitable for being on stage under hot lights. They have specific makeup for stage lighting and stuff like that, and he was really hot and sweaty. And Eisenhower in the show makes a comment on him, sweating. He's like, you need to get that perspiration like problem face, which I thought was interesting. So after Eisenhower and Nixon have a conversation with Kennedy in the office, we cut to another scene of, which I did not realize this in the beginning. I did not realize that the man laying on the bed was Kennedy. I watched the episodes at least 3 times before I review. I watched one just kind of a basic. I watched it at first to take notes, and then I watched it again to enjoy it, and then I watched it again just to kind of see if there was anything that I missed. And when I first watched it, I wasn't paying a lot of attention, and I didn't realize that man was supposed to be Kennedy because the casting is not very good. He does not look like John F. Kennedy to me, and that's why I was confused until Marilyn Monroe comes into the scene, and she's like, "Oh, how you gonna ever get into the mood?" And he's like, "I just told you that aliens that they want me to sacrifice humans to the aliens, and you're just like, you just want to, smash." And Marilyn is like, I had some encounters with aliens when I was a child, when she was in the foster home. One of her bears became like possessed by the aliens or something. As you guys noticed when I in my theory video, if you haven't watched that, I posted like the picture of Theta the alien with the one black eye and then the one normal eye, basically split in half. And Marilyn's bear as a child had the same thing. He had one big black eye and one normal eye, and that's why she got moved around to foster homes, because they were like, this little girl is crazy. So obviously that's going to set up what happens next week in the trailer with Marilyn and the abduction or whatever. And Kennedy's just like, he's like, huh? Which, like I said, I didn't realize that was Kennedy until she called him Jack. And I was like, this can't, because at first I was like, is this Arthur Miller? This can't be Arthur Miller. This can't be Joe DiMaggio, like other, people that Marilyn was with. But it made sense after they said that. So after that scene, we go back to 1963, and Eisenhower and Mamie are sitting down to eat food that came out of a microwave. Obviously, microwave technology came from the aliens in the show. And he's watching like this sci-fi movie or whatever on the TV, and eventually like it switches to the newsreel, and it is about the assassination of Kennedy, of John F. Kennedy. And basically the show is pretty much putting together that the aliens killed him because he didn't want to agree And, maybe, Eisenhower was like, oh, you need to send your condolences to Jackie. And she's like, huh. Apparently Jackie and Mamie had some spat or something because Jackie didn't like that Mamie made one of the bedrooms pink and something like that. And so we go back to, I remember, like, we kept having changes, like, within the 50s sections. We kept having flashbacks and flash forwards from the 50s to the 60s because we kept alternating between Eisenhower being in office, Kennedy being in office, and all those kind of things. So we go back to the beginning, and it basically explains how Eisenhower briefed all of, his military personnel and everything about what they're going to be doing. And as he goes into, like, the meeting room, this guy is like, we have to say the prayer, whatever. He's like, get out. Like, obviously, we're being abducted by aliens. Like, there's no point in trying to pray anymore. Like, this is the end of time. And as they are having the discussion, one of the guys is like, some test subject number 1 or what? No. Or she disappeared, or I guess they had Maria in the possessed alien body in captivity, and she escaped, and they saw her walk into the room. She has this big box, and she basically has, like, this radioactive technology, and she's like, it'll work faster than any electronics that you have already, and, this is the future. And one of the associates of Eisenhower, the dude is like, this is the devil, like, this is evil, this is the end of time, like, we're all going to hell, we have to get rid of this abomination. And pulls out his gun, she flicks the wrist and heads exploded, and they're just like, oh goodness. So after, she tells them, like, you need to sign on for this. We have to save our people. We have to make better aliens, and we need humans to do that. And Eisenhower's like, America's a pretty great country. If you could have just come to us nicely and been like, hey, but you're abducting people and killing people and doing all this kind of stuff. And she's like, we can't just do that because America is dirty. She's like, this planet is dirty. Y'all have viruses. You guys have diseases. And we can't handle that right now. So we need to make our little alien human hybrid so that they will have the, like, immunology. Like, they'll have the immunity. I don't know how I said that. They'll have the immunity to, survive all these diseases and all that kind of stuff. So after the whole meeting with her, with the alien being, I don't know if I want to call it she. The alien being pretty much, like, snaps out of Maria's body. Before that, they basically say, you need to come up with, an answer, or we're gonna wreck some shit. If you don't give us the answer we want, we're gonna wreck some shit. And, you're not gonna have much longer. And the alien snaps out of Maria's body and explodes her head because obviously she's not useful anymore because, she's possessed by aliens. She was possessed, and they don't need her husk of the shell of her body anymore. So after that, one of the men says that there's been an incident, and we cut forward to Amelia Earhart, her body dead, lifeless, and all the nurses in the room covered in blood. And they're like, who did it? And they're like, the baby. But it's not a baby, it's a monster. And they come into the room with guns, and it tries to attack one of the men. Eisenhower shoots it. It's like this little creepy little alien thing. I'll probably insert a picture. It was really gross, like really creepy. And, they're just like, okay, that failed. Like, So obviously the first trial of making this human alien hybrid and, incubating it inside of Earhart didn't work. So there's that. So we come back to Eisenhower and Mamie. I think I left out a part where Eisenhower eventually Nixon eventually called Eisenhower, and he was like, Kennedy's, that bastard's not going to do it. Basically, it was right before Kennedy was assassinated. He basically started, like, a testing group to, I guess, like, research the aliens and stuff, and obviously they weren't having that, and that's why he was killed. So Eisenhower goes back home, and he's basically venting to Mamie about everything that's happened and how he doesn't want to do the wrong thing for the American people because obviously, as president, he's supposed to look out for his citizens, and he doesn't really know how to feel about this whole situation with the aliens. He's obviously afraid of what they'll do if he doesn't agree. And maybe he's talking about her birthday. Basically, from a historical point, maybe Eisenhower was one of the driving forces in pretty much showing them, like, American people that you can celebrate, your birthday regardless of how old you are. Like, adults can have fun birthday parties. It shouldn't just be for the children. And she was always having grand parties and stuff like that. And, he's just kind of venting. She was kind of talking about the party and all this kind of stuff. And, he's telling her, like, he doesn't want to do it. And she's like, well, it doesn't seem like you have a choice from what you told me. And he's like, yeah, I know. And she's basically like, you are a fighter, like you're a strong person. I know you're not going to let the Russians, win. Because basically the alien told him, excuse me, basically the alien told him, if you don't do it, we're going to find somebody that will. And obviously the Russians, we know about like the race for space and all that kind of stuff that happened at that time. America and Russia were like neck and neck and competing with each other, in advancement in like space technology and all that kind of stuff. So, baby's like, you're not about to let the Russians like do this. Like, no. And basically he is like, I don't know, I'll come up with something. And we see like this little cut of Mamie, which I knew something was up when I saw this, because I was like, I don't know, thinking about it, like if your husband was the president and he just told you that aliens are real and aliens are going to kill us all if you don't do what I want, I would be scared. I would be like, uh-huh. But she was just very much like, you need to do this, you need to do X, Y, Z. And it just was weird to me. And before we cut off of that scene, we just see Mamie just make like this really creepy like look, like her eyes, like it was creepy. And the next day we see Nixon pull up to the Eisenhower home and he's talking to Mamie and she's like, you need to convince my husband to do this. And he's like, your husband doesn't like me. She's like, you're not wrong. He doesn't like you. No one does. But you're useful. And she has like these classified documents about the whole alien situation that she hands to him. He's like, how would you grip this? And she's like, I've had my husband's key to his office for over 10 years, but he can't know that I did this. Like, he can't know about this. And, Nixon is just like, I guess, but he's for it, even though he's a little bit nervous about how Eisenhower's going to take it. So we cut back to them on the base, and he's like, we need to do this. Like, we can't lost that Russia. We're like, complete. And all these kind of things. And Eisenhower's just like, I don't know. Like, he was not for it, and he had good reason. And, Nixon ends up like holding up a handkerchief with an M on it, and Eisenhower's like, "You got this from my wife. You got this information from my wife," because Nixon kept asking him like, is it true? Is it true? And he's like, I should have fired Truman because was it true? FBI. I'm getting kind of confused. It's been a minute, but he was like, I should have. Oh no, Hoover. He was like, I should have got rid of Hoover because y'all know. Hoover was something else over there. A lot of history with him, but and basically Eisenhower ends up coming home and he's talking to Mamie. She's over here making fudge, and he just slaps the bowl. He's like, listen here, why did you go to Nixon? Like, of all people, why did you go to him? Like, I don't like him. He's not trustworthy. And she's like, because you wouldn't listen any other way. You need to do this. And he is just like, what the hell? No. And then we see Mamie rise up, the eyes go white, and yes, the alien has possessed Mamie. And the alien's basically like, you better do it, or else she's still in here. She doesn't like me being inside of her body, but you know what I did to the last person that, we possessed. So if you don't want your wife dead, you better do what we said. He's like, you touch my wife, So that basically, forced his hand because he loves his wife. He didn't want his wife to, be sacrificed. So that's how we got to the point of Eisenhower, and the alien situation. So we cut to present day with the Gen Zers, the young people, and they are crisscrossing through traffic. They're all pregnant as hell. Like, they have big old bellies. And Jamie's like, we're going to go to my OB. She's very discreet. She's very helpful. It's the same one that Jamie went to when she was younger, because in the first episode, Jamie alluded to having a pregnancy before when she was a teen. And they go to the doctor's office, and, the doctor, she's just like, do you know who the dad is? Do you know how far along you might be? And Jamie's like, no, we were hoping you would know. And then, like, the guys are like, where's the dad or whatever? And she's like, I'm going to talk to you about safe sex, but you seem worried right now. And obviously Kendall and Troy and I can't think of the other guy's name right now. Like, obviously they're pregnant too. They're hiding it in their jackets and stuff. And as the doctor, starts the ultrasound, she sees something weird, and obviously we, the viewer, don't see the screen. And she's like, "The twins running your family?" And Jen's like, "I don't know." She's like, "I'll be right back." So she goes to call another doctor because she's like, "It's an emergency," And Kendall goes over to scan Troy, and she sees a little alien head one big black eye and another eye. What the hell is this? It looks like I have a tail too. And we cut back to the doctor. She's on the phone and she's like, I need someone immediately. And we just see these cars, these black cars, like zooming. Next thing you know, men in black, they're in the room. They're like, who are you on the phone with? Did you tell anybody what you saw? And she's like, no. Pew pew. She gets shot twice. And the Secret Service men come in. They inject I don't want to call them kids because they're not kids, but injects them and knocks them out. And that was the scene that we talked about in the trailer last week. And now we go to all of them being on the tables. Well, they're floating, but in the trailer they were on tables, so I guess they didn't edit that out. But they're suspended by these like green like wires and stuff, and they're all asleep. But Kendall wakes up and she's freaking out. She doesn't know what's going on, and then the alien Theta comes over and is like, calm down, like, you're doing this for a good reason, like this is the hope for the future. And Kendall's like, why would I want to save some four-legged freaks or, for America? And the alien's like, girl, this is not for America or Earth. This is for our planet. And Kendall's just freaking out, and Theta just like wipes her mind and is like, be quiet. And we cut forward to a couple scenes later. All of the people are in like this white room, and they have like the little futuristic, like colorful blobs of jello and stuff. And we see the character Calico sitting with Steve Jobs. Like, Steve Jobs is the only person dressed like normally. Like, he has on his black sweater and his jeans, his iconic, outfit. And he's like, I've been doing this for 50 years now. Like, what's going on? And Calico's, like, whatever, blah, blah. And Jamie and Troy and the other friend, who I just cannot remember his name right now, they end up seeing, what's his name, Cam? I don't know. They end up seeing Kendall, and they're like, oh my God, what happened to you? And they obviously don't remember what happened. All they remember is being at the OB, hearing gunshots, and then just, being here. And Kendall ends up telling them that she woke up at one point and that she spoke with the alien, and basically Calico starts breaking down how everything works and how she's been there since 1979, and how, a lot of people, they give birth and they go about their life, and then she's just been coming back yearly and all these kind of things. And Troy is just really upset. He's like, how are we going to have these babies? Like, what the hell is happening? Like, and he's angry. So the guy comes over with some supplements for them to take in the little jello squares or whatever. It looked like black pills. Like, I'm going to show you guys a screenshot, but it definitely looked like the black pills from part one, which, kind of ties into our thoughts with, the alien maybe being a chemist or whatever. Somehow it's all connected, I feel like. And, Troy like slaps all that shit over. He's like, I need answers. And they take Troy away. Troy ends up on the table, which in the scene from the trailer theories last week, it was Troy. It was just in black and white. And, he's freaking out. And he's like, I just want to know how I'm going to give birth to this thing. Like, what's going to happen? And, Theta is basically telling him, like, the baby's going to look like this. She takes off her mask and, and she's basically telling him not to fret, not to worry. And she says birth, and he immediately goes into pain. So I don't know if that was like her basically like speaking it, like, okay, it's time for the baby to come out. And so I feel like Troy's gonna die. I don't think he's gonna survive. I think he's gonna be just like Amelia Earhart. He's not gonna make it out. I doubt if the rest of them will make it out. But the episode ends like right after that. So we will see next week how everything goes. It was a decent episode for me. I felt like I don't really like the present day bits. I don't really like them very much. I definitely like the past. I feel like it skipped around a little bit too much. And I feel like we learned some things, but there was still like, it felt like there was a gap like somewhere. Like it just seemed like filler in a couple bits of it. But we only have 2 more episodes. I think next week we're going to focus on some stuff with Marilyn Monroe, and I have to look at the trailer again, and I'll probably have a trailer breakdown later on this week, before the episode airs, of course. But let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments down below. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say. I'm sorry that it was late. I was really busy with work Thursday. So yeah, but thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.